Good morning. Today I'm going to be talking to Ken Ham, the world-renowned science denier and miscellaneous charlatan who founded Answers in Genesis. He's been in the news lately because of his plans to build a big building that looks like a boat, so we thought we'd take a minute to catch up with him. Thank you for joining us, Ken.
Great to be with you.
Well, I can't honestly say the feeling's mutual, but let's get past that and move on to some of the stupid things you believe about science. For example, you think the Earth is only a few thousand years old, right?
88 years old, actually.
Well, holy f***. So if it's that young, then when do you think Jesus walked the Earth?
Just over 20 years ago.
Huh. Well, I guess going from 6,000 years to 88 years only represents a 0.00013% shift in how wrong you are, so it's not that shocking of a change. But still, it must be challenging spreading ideas that don't make sense. And in fact, I understand that when you first came to the States, you had problems getting people to take you seriously. So how did you manage to find an audience that didn't just laugh at you?
We moved to northern Kentucky.
Ah, that makes sense. So what's the education level you were targeting?
Equivalent of sort of elementary, middle school.
Interesting. Now to reach these people, you built a creation museum in Kentucky back in 2007. What were you hoping to do with children who visited this museum?
We take them out of the modern world.
And isolate them into little homeschool-driven pockets of Bronze Age ignorance?
Yes.
Now, as I understand, the opening of this museum was actually pretty successful. How'd you get so many people to show up?
You put 20 kids in a car and squash them all in.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing that night, was it? So what was the most challenging part of the museum's opening?
The kids were asking skeptical questions about the Bible.
Yeah, I could see how that would really twist your nuts. But I bet it was nothing compared to the debate you held there against Bill Nye in 2014. Tell me, Ken, what was your first impression of Bill?
He was a highly intelligent person.
Wait, you said he was what again?
Highly intelligent.
Huh. And would you say he's even more intelligent than you?
So much more intelligent.
Okay, and by contrast, what would that make you?
You know, a less intelligent person.
Interesting. And what was Bill Nye's goal in this debate?
To tell the truth.
And of course, you took the opposite position then?
Yes.
Now, the debate really didn't go well for you. And in fact, it ended up turning you into a public embarrassment. What was going through your mind as the debate played out?
Well, maybe the Bible's not true after all.
Right.
Ouch, sounds rough. At least you didn't just start crying and run off the stage in shame.
Even that is a miracle.
Yeah, it sure was. So when it was all over, how did people react to seeing Nye de-pants you in front of the world?
The secular media loved that.
And will you ever debate Nye again?
Well, how do I do that? I can't do that.
Yeah, I can understand your trepidation. And I'm sure it must be a sensitive topic, so let's lighten things up a bit. Tell me, Ken, what's the craziest thing you ever said when you were drunk?
What if we were to build Noah's Ark according to dimensions in the Bible?
Now that's some crazy Oh my. But it turns out you actually decided to do it, right? And you funded most of this big wooden money toilet with a series of shady tax concessions. But before accepting these massive government handouts, what were you able to accomplish on your own?
We built 1% of Noah's Ark.
Oh, wow. So with all the money that's been pumped into this thing, you're really on the hook to start turning a profit. What kind of attendance are you counting on?
The research we've done indicates up to 2 million people a year.
Holy that's a generous projection. I bet you're going to regret having said this within the next year or two, huh? Yeah, because if attendance ends up being, say, half of what you're expecting, you'll be in pretty deep, won't you?
Really deep.
But aside from the whole stupid thing going bankrupt, what are some other big challenges you see yourself facing when the Ark opens?
You could get too many people on some days.
Wait, you're joking, right?
Yes.
Haha, Ken, you kidder. Now, Ken, are there any features built into the Ark that you think will be totally unnecessary?
The exit stairs that are in the towers, they're permitted to exit 10,000 people at one time.
Yeah, that does seem like a pointless...
Not that we're going to have that many in the Ark at one time.
You can say that again. In fact, I bet people are going to spend half their time at the Ark zigzagging their way through an embarrassingly empty queuing area.
Do you know how I describe the Ark Encounter?
How?
The cute little fairy tale Ark.
Okay, then. Well, I'm getting tired of talking about this Ark, mainly because it's so very stupid. So let's close out with a few random questions to help flesh you out for our audience. First, do you have a penis?
Just a mini one.
Ooh, okay. So in light of that, what's the most egregious lie you've ever told a woman?
That's how big it is.
Okay. And speaking of things that embarrass you, What YouTube channel should people go to see you thoroughly debunked and exposed on a weekly basis?
Paulogia.
Oh yeah, I bet that guy haunts your dreams. Is there anything else you have recurring nightmares about?
Animatronic dinosaurs and animatronic people.
Ooh, sounds scary. Now getting back to stupid religious nonsense, I bet that as a Christian you're disappointed to see the use of pornography becoming more prevalent. What do you think will happen as more and more people start to view it?
There's going to be thousands of people coming every day.
Oh geez, that's vivid. And what if they were able to access it on their work computers as well as their home computers?
People could come during the day or come at night.
Wow, so pretty much anytime they want, huh? So let's just say someone got the urge at, say, the Ark Encounter. Could you recommend a private place they might be able to slip away to?
In the bow on the third deck.
Oh, that should work. But I bet the thought of people wanking on the Ark would make God want to flood the earth all over again. Too bad he promised he wouldn't, huh, Ken?
It won't rain next time the judgment's by fire.
Well, at least he found a loophole that lets him release his pent-up homicidal rage. Now finally, one last question. What would you say is the best way to increase scientific literacy in our society?
Don't teach the coming generations apologetics.
Good idea, Ken. Good idea. Now I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. I'd thank Ken too, but he's an insufferable son of a bitch who brainwashes children. I'd like to encourage you to never support this self-promoting hat in any way. I'd also encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, as well as following me on Facebook and Twitter. And if I ever get a Patreon account, support me there too. It's okay to support me, just not Ken Ham. Bye, all.